We would like to welcome Ms. Thi Ha Nguyen, a Junior Consultant on Youth and Climate Change Communication UNDP, and Ms. Nop An Pham, Team Leader of Vietnam Youth for Climate Policy Working Group, to share about the special report on youth and climate in Vietnam. The floor is now yours.
Thank you, Chrissy. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
We're joining together today. So I'm happy to share with you all our project, which is Vietnam Youth for Climate. Can you see my screen? Yeah, so thank you. So as introduced, I'm Ha, and this is Ngọc Anh. We will be presenting our Vietnam Youth for Climate project. Our content main focus would be the background of the initiative. Then the second point is about our objectives. And the third point is our key achievements. And in terms of the key achievements, we have the two special reports on youth for climate action in Vietnam in 2021 and 2022. And with that, with the 2021 report, we have the Climate Learning Hub, which is one of the key accelerator. And in the second report, we have the Youth for Climate Policy Working Group, and that will be presented by Ngọc Anh specifically later on. In terms of the background, the Youth for Climate Initiative was launched by UNDP in collaboration with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment in Vietnam in 2020. And the initiative builds on UNDP's long experience in mobilizing and working with the youth and students in Vietnam. And our projects focuses on three main objectives, which is raise environmental and climate awareness of the youth and empower them through building technical capacity. And we have a lot of youth-led activities and projects around our main focus. The second objective is to listen to the youth voices to capture current bottlenecks and opportunities for them to undertake climate action. And our third objective is to establish regular platforms for dialogues with the government and policymakers in Vietnam. And so with our roadmap, the initiative was launched in 2020, and until now we have a lot of achievements and accomplishments, which are precious opportunities for youth to join, and they can contribute to the climate action in Vietnam. And the first achievement is the special report 2021, which is our first special report. And I inserted here the QR code for your attention. You can click on that to read our full special report. The first special report focuses on 4 general bottlenecks, which are financial constraints, skills limitations, stakeholder engagement, and access to technologies. Those are this report was co-written by around 20 youth in Vietnam in 2021, and they are the youth representative of climate action in Vietnam, and they found out that we need a lot of accelerators to solve the problems that the youth in Vietnam are facing. And we have 2 key accelerators. One is establish a youth network for climate action, which is called YNET. They are now have the 5th generation of their members, and they're operating very well. And a lot of Vietnamese youth know them and contribute to their other sub-projects. And the second accelerator is to build a youth for climate learning hub. And this is, you can access our Learning Hub. It is written in Vietnamese and English. And this QR code is for you. The Learning Hub focuses on 5 main categories, which are theme-based knowledge modules. The second category is the youth perspective articles. And we also have the library of climate-related resources and also event calendar. There is also a map of youth climate action projects in Vietnam. And our main themes are 5 topics, which are climate science, ecosystem and LULUCF, energy, materials and waste, and the 5th is climate policy. Yeah, so I would like to leave the floor for Ngọc Anh to introduce about our second report on youth for climate action.
So thank you, Ha. That leads perfectly to our second special report, which was just completed at the end of last year. So for this report, we had a slight shift in the topics that we choose to focus on. In this report in particular, different youth leaders talked about circular economy, climate change, adaptation and mitigation. And across the board, we noticed that all of the youth projects kind of hit a ceiling in their effectiveness and their efficiency in running their ideas and scaling up because of bottlenecks in the policy processes. There aren't enough policies to support the youth. And when the youth want to join into the implementation process of several climate change or environmentally focused policies, they don't really know how to, and they seek to change that. So policy kind of becomes the focal point of our second report because of that. Policy as a topic was also mentioned in the first report, but the difference is that this time we were able to look at also the internal, so the mental blockages and resistance that the youth in Vietnam have toward engaging in the policy process. We were able to bring both those external and internal challenges to dialogue with different policymakers and have them kind of analyze to say, oh, this is true, this is maybe false, to kind of give a little bit of hope that, hey, actually the youth can join and the youth are needed in this process. So from the main bottleneck, which is a lack of youth representation in policy development and implementation processes, we came up with 2 solutions. The first is the Youth for Climate Policy Working Group, and the second is to develop a multi-stakeholder dialogue on climate change. So on this slide as well, you can also access our report and read in more detail about what I talked about. And for now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more on the solution that we have chosen to focus on for this year, which is the Policy Working Group. So the Youth Policy Working Group has 3 very simple objectives. It has to do with empowering youth engagement in local climate policy processes. So our aim isn't too high, as in we don't immediately aim toward contributing to the national NDC or to kind of bring youth to co-conferences, but we want to immediately engage with the problems and the local authorities right where our communities are. Our second objective is to build the capacity of climate change youth networks. As I mentioned before, a lot of the projects that youth leaders are engaged in have a very clear bottleneck when it comes to engaging in climate policy processes, and it stops their projects from becoming more effective. So that's our second objective. And for our third objective, which is also our focus at the moment, is to research and to provide policy recommendations on topics of interest to the Vietnam Youth for Climate movement. So because we are widespread and each of us have kind of like a different topic of interest, it's important for the youth policy working group to be able to choose and to hone in on certain issues. So
Definitely.
this year in particular, our group has chosen energy transition and climate change education as the main topics. And
So thank you so much, Ha and Nop, for that sharing and for sharing the 3 objectives. As you both mentioned, I think there's definitely a lot that's happening in the climate space in Vietnam. And for all of our audience who are watching today, please feel free to scan the QR code that are listed on your screens at the moment. And we also have the links to the activities and how you can join in the chat as well. Thank you once again, Ha and Nop, for your sharing. It's been lovely having you here today.